This video lesson is geared specifically towards students who are needing a refresher or maybe didn't get the lesson on how to use the Says Means Matters sheet that's attached to this October 12th post. This Says Means Matters sheet is supposed to walk you through creating a paragraph for each element that you'll be using of the story to support how the theme develops. For example, the first paragraph is going to be over plot. And this is my start for an example using fish cheeks to show you how to use this says, means, matters sheet. Okay? So to start with, make sure at the top that you have the title of your story. I put Fish Cheeks and the author, Amy Tan. And then go ahead and state your main idea. If you don't have a theme, go ahead and go back to Classroom and click on RL 8.2 and scroll down to where it says Theme Practice. And there's a video on there that will walk you through how to find a theme. So now that we have our theme written, we're going to go down here and work with this sheet. So the first part is just says. This is going to be a direct quote from the text that shows how the plot supports the theme. So if you don't have your story in front of you, if you go back to Classroom and scroll down to the objective summary post, which by the way, if you still have a 0 for that, you need to see my comments and complete your objective summary again. If you need your story, they are all linked below. So going back to this sheet, I need to show how the theme develops through the plot. So my theme is loving yourself is key to finding your identity in the place in the world. So I need to show that in the story itself. So the first piece of evidence I chose, the first quote, is where Amy's father offers her the fish cheek and this makes her uncomfortable. So I pulled that straight out of the text. I went over to my story and I believe it's right here. And I copied this directly off the story and I pasted it right here. And then I added my quotation marks here and here. And then I made sure that I added my citation, which is my last name of my author and the page number. And then I put my period at the end. And that's all that goes in this box is just the quote. This box is a little bit trickier. This is where you are going to paraphrase the quote. Now, if you don't know what paraphrase means, you can look it up. It means to restate someone else's words using different words, especially to achieve greater clarity, which means to make it make more sense. You're going to take this quote and put it in your own words. So I put, Amy's father uses his chopsticks to nudge the fish cheek out and attempts to give it to her, stating that it is her favorite. This causes her to want to disappear. Unfortunately, I'm using the exact same word, favorite, and the exact same word, disappear. So I need to find a synonym for favorite. So I'm going to right-click and click Define Favorite and see what pops up. Oh, preferred. I like the word preferred. I'm going to say her preferred part of the fish. Now, does that sound a little odd because we wouldn't say it that way? Maybe, but it gets you the same meaning without using the exact same word, favorite. When you're paraphrasing, you never want to use the exact same word. Now I've done the same thing with disappear. I'm going to go define and then see what kind of synonyms. Oh, vanish. I like the word vanish. So I'm going to say this causes her to want to vanish so that I'm not using the same words in my paraphrasing. Okay, so now that I have my paraphrasing, I'm going to move to this box. So this is the matters. You're going to explain how this quote connects, supports, or drives the plot to the theme. So I have this quote matters because it shows that Amy is uncomfortable eating her favorite foods when her crush Robert is present. This develops the theme by showing she isn't sure who she is and is therefore uncomfortable in her own skin. So now that I have my first quote, in order to have a well-developed paragraph, I'm going to need two pieces of evidence. So I'm going to need to go ahead and pull another piece of evidence from my story. Since my first piece of evidence is about the father offering her the fish cheek and showing that she's uncomfortable, I'm going to choose another piece of evidence that's closer to the end, where Amy's mother teaches her she needs to be herself. So I'm going to pull Amy's mother's words. And I'm going to pull them a little bit at a time. So I'm going to copy this and put it over here, and then put my ellipses, ... to show that I've cut something out of my quote. And then I'm going to pick it back up here, copy, and paste. So now I have my quotation marks at the beginning. After everyone had gone, my mother handed me an early gift. It was a miniskirt in beige tweed. And then this indicates that the mother was talking. When dialogue happens inside of our quote, we just use the single dialogue indicator right here. And then it looks like that's the end of what she says. So I'm going to delete that period and put the single there, and then my double to show it's the end of the quote, space, tan, and I'm going to put 2 because it's technically on page 2 with my period at the end. Okay, I'm going to take this highlighting off because it's distracting and I don't need it. So my quote is, after everyone had gone, my mother handed me an early gift. It was a miniskirt in beige tweed. But inside, you must always be Chinese. You must always be proud you different. Your only shame is to be ashamed. Okay, so now I get to paraphrase. And I'm going to change some of the words here. Once the dinner was over, Amy's mother gave her an American piece of clothing as an early present. She also told her that she needed to be both Chinese and American, and that the only reason I'm going to look up another word for shame. That the only humiliation is simply having humiliation. That sounds a little wonky, but I think that's going to work. All right. So now that I have my paraphrasing, I'm going to state why it matters. This quote drives the theme home by having Amy's mother give Amy a gift that symbolizes American culture, but at the same time prepare a dinner that symbolizes the Chinese culture, thus teaching her to live in both worlds. Okay, now that I've completed my boxes, I'm going to go down here and I see it says paragraph about plot. So I'm going to scroll down to where these frames are. And these first frames are for the plot elements, and I'm going to click copy. And I'm going to go back up here where it says paragraph about plot, and I'm going to click paste. So now I have my frames for my plot paragraph, and I'm going to start filling in. So author's name, Amy Tan, the title of her story, Fish Cheeks, please remember to capitalize, and the theme, I can just scroll up and copy. And paste. I'm going to fix all of the formatting here in just a minute. And then the theme connects to the plot through, and I have here 2 plot elements. So the plot elements include the elements on that plot diagram or plot mountain that you're comfortable with making. So the background, the rising action, the climax, the falling action, or the denouement. So I'm going to say the theme connects to the plot through, and I need to go up here and check. My first quote comes from the rising action. So I'm going to put the theme connects to the plot through, rising action, and where does my second quote come from? That would be the denouement. Denouement. Okay. So now I have that sentence. I'm going to delete these little parentheses because they irritate me. Now, this section is going to be exactly what you think it is. You're simply going to copy what you have and paste it here. So the first says, I'm going to highlight this. This is where your quote goes. So I'm going to scroll up to here, and I'm going to copy my quote all the way with the citation, and come down here and paste it right here. Now this is going to look ugly because I have 2 sets of double quotation marks here, and I have not led into my quote. I have nothing that introduces my quote. So I'll go back and fix that in just 1 minute. I want to fix all of that after I finish this. So next is going to be the means. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to copy my paraphrasing, my means. I'm going to scroll down here and highlight this, and I'm going to paste it right here. Okay, all I have left now for this is my matters. So I'm going to go up here, I'm going to copy my matters, scroll down here, and paste it right here. Okay, I'm going to read all of this aloud once I've finished with it, but I'm just going to keep going while I'm on a roll. The theme also connects through, and this is where you're going to put that second plot element, the denouement. You could just copy it and paste it. Because, and right here, says to. So I'm going to go back up here and pull my second quote. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it down here. And then go to my means, copy it, and paste it where it says means. I want that quotation mark to go away, so I'm going to highlight that too. Oops, need a space. And then last but not least, the matters. Okay, now that I have everything copied and pasted for this paragraph, I need to go back and make it look like a legit paragraph, an actual paragraph, which means changing some of the formatting. I'm going to tab so that I have an indent. And if I tap 1, 2, 3, I've got the whole thing highlighted, and I can take all of the underlining out because it doesn't need any underlining. Take all of the bold out because it doesn't need any bold. I'm going to make the entire thing one font, hopefully something that's easy for me to read, like Times New Roman or Georgia. And I'm going to make the font size 12. That's the most common size that teachers prefer. So I'm going to go back through and read it out loud and fix things that need to be fixed as I'm reading. In Amy Tan's short story, so I need to show possession because she has this short story, she wrote it. In Amy Tan's short story, Fish Cheeks, the theme is that loving yourself is key to finding your identity and place in the world. The theme connects to the plot through rising action and denouement. And then I have this quote. So let me lead into this quote by saying, Amy recalls the Christmas Eve dinner that stressed her out, and specifically when her, and then I'm going to delete when her father poked his chopsticks just below the fisheye and plucked out the soft meat. Amy, your favorite, he said, offering me the tender fish cheek. Oh, I wanted to disappear. Tan 1. Amy's father uses his chopsticks to nudge the fish cheek out and attempts to give it to her, stating that it is her preferred part of the fish. This causes her to want to vanish. This quote matters because it shows that Amy is uncomfortable eating her favorite foods when her crush Robert is present. This develops the theme by showing she isn't sure who she is and is therefore uncomfortable in her own skin. The theme also connects through denouement because, oh, here we go. I've got 2 sets of quotation marks. Because Amy points out that after everyone had gone, my mother handed me an early gift. It was a miniskirt in beige tweed. But inside, you must always be Chinese. You must be proud you different. Your only shame is to be ashamed. And I have my single there and my double. Tan 2. Once the dinner was over, Amy's mother gave her an American piece of clothing as an early present. She also told her that she needed to be both Chinese and American, and that the humiliation is simply having humiliation. I'm going to add a little bit so it doesn't sound so weird. Which really means that it is only real to Amy, no one else. This quote drives the theme home by having Amy's mother give Amy a gift that symbolizes American culture, but at the same time prepares a dinner, prepare a dinner that symbolizes her Chinese culture, thus teaching her to live in both worlds. And now we have a really solid paragraph that explains how the plot develops the theme. Now, if you've gone this far and you feel like you're done with that, go ahead and move to setting. The same thing is going to apply to setting, just a little bit differently. You're going to pull 2 pieces of evidence, or more if you need it, and then go down and get your frames for setting, copy them and paste them here, and then work your way through the setting frames, and then do the same for characterization. You'll be really impressed how much easier it is the more times you use this frame. It'll give you a really solid paragraph that really explains your words about the text. Thank you so much.